A very good afternoon, lunchtime session. Welcome to everyone on another interesting conversation on innovation culture. You know, Herman and myself, we're going to have an interesting conversation. It is a conversation, yes, with the two of us, but we are asking persons to please put whatever questions you would like in the chat that we can definitely take it and move forward with the question and answer, you know, because it's all about building innovation culture within your organization and forming an innovative mindset, really. Now, this session, this lunch and learn session, really came about when we asked the question to our community, our LinkedIn community, our email community, and what are some of the reasons why innovation is not being done in organizations. You know, we are hearing this as a buzzword over and over and over. Innovation, innovation. Yet, we're not seeing it to the max that we would like to see it. And this was one of the main points that came out of the poll, where persons believe and are of the opinion that culture prevents an innovation mindset. A culture mindset. We don't have a mindset for that. So again, this is how we're going to start the conversation with that in mind. How do we create an innovative mindset? You know, what do we have to do to change? So welcome again to everyone. Herbert is on the call as well. Herman, are you there? Seeing your name?
Yes, I'm here. I'm all here. I just try organizing some, again, a little problem with my lighting. So I just kind of do another adjustment with the lighting. So you could go ahead. I'm here.
Right. So Herman and myself, Shivani Sinarain, we're bringing you some nice topics, good conversation, as we said, for lunchtime. You know, it's all a part of learning and development wherever you are. So we wish to say thanks to everyone and, you know, jump in the conversation, jump in part of the conversation. I see Aldwin is also part of the call here. I'm seeing a lot of persons that I know joining us. So innovation. How do we really build this innovation culture? How do we really build this innovation culture? So let me start with a question. Why did many of us see that culture prevent something from being done, Herman? Why is it that we keep hearing that innovation culture? What do you see in organizations? Why? You know, I love to ask why. Culture. Yeah, your mic, right?
Yeah, so there's a saying that goes, culture eats strategy for breakfast.
Right.
Right? So that any kind of strategy that you put in place as an organization, whether it's to do better business, whether it's to make more money, whether it's to do any type of change, unless the culture of the organization is dealt with, you're wasting time, right? So we could be talking about innovation, or you could be talking about any other type of change management that you want to put in place. Culture is a very significant, because once we are talking about changing the hearts and minds of human beings, in terms of how they do things, culture forms a very significant part of that analysis. So whether it's, as I say, whether it's innovation, whether it's any type of management change, culture is a major part of how we do things, right? So hence, in terms of the question, persons would allude to that, and especially in Trinidad and Tobago, where we know that, you know, the way how we do things sometimes could be termed as inefficient. Sometimes we may be too slow to change. Sometimes maybe our people may not embrace technology as we should. And, you know, a number of you know, ideas could come into the debate. And as a result of that, you know, we will have the idea that, you know what, a lot of the things that we would like to do, you know, we will see a lot of different things happening in first world countries. We would like to implement it here in Trinidad. And sometimes when you think about implementing those things here, and when you think about the culture that we have here, we know that not everything could actually work in Trinidad. You know, and basically that is what happens in terms of our ability to embrace change, embrace technology. That is definitely one of the issues that we have as a people, you know.
Thanks, Herman. I'm seeing a question, a comment already from Vindra. Culture can be a resistance to change unless the culture embraces change. A very important point. The culture got to embrace change. And the question will be, how do we do it? Culture can be about history, yet innovative is about change and new. So well said. So how are we going to take this nice lunch and learn discussion right now? We're going to show a slide deck, and Herman and myself, we will, look at some main points for innovation and how innovation can really be implemented or should be implemented within your organization using also a project management framework. So over to you, Herman, and we'll take the conversation together.
Right. So what are the learning objectives? So today what you want to do is understand what is innovation culture, understand that there are new skills and responsibilities, expectations that are going to building an innovation culture. You want to understand the strategic business importance of culture change. And we also want to touch on innovation project management and how innovation projects and the ability to manage them successfully can help create a healthy corporate innovation culture. So when we talk about innovation, naturally, another definitions come to the fore. Different persons in different aspects of technology or even management will have different ideas of what innovation is. Is a word that is commonly used, but it can mean different things to different persons, right? So generally, from a perspective of academia, when we talk about innovation, we try to really refer to the experts and the persons who would have put a lot of study into this particular topic, right? So one definition that comes up for is the one that comes from ISO, as the international standards body, right? That would have developed different type of standards like ISO 9001 and quality standards, etc. They have an innovation standard, and it's called ISO 56000. Good. Their definition of innovation is a new or changed entity realizing or distributing value. Very simple, right? A new or changed entity realizing or distributing value, and value is a key word. Shivani, there's a saying that goes necessity is the mother of invention. I don't know if you all know about that.
Yes.
Well, let's say if necessity is the mother of invention, then value is the father of innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So value is a very important aspect in terms of how you define innovation. It must have some sort of value, whether it's from a business perspective, whether it's from a perspective of the persons who are going to use the innovation, how the innovation is going to be deployed. Value must be the center of any type of innovation. And we have a lot of the other definitions on the slide there, is that Peter Drucker, very notable guru in management. He would have said, if you want something new, you have to stop doing something old, right? So that's his version of innovation. Then you have innovation equals ideas plus execution.
I like that one, Herman.
Which one? Innovation
equal ideas plus execution. Because a lot of times, you have a lot of ideas. And we see it all the time in organizations and in the world. You always have a lot of great ideas. People come about with their great ideas. They got the strategic thinking, but the implementation part of it fails. And I know this is our conversation a lot, where we're talking about project management and how project management could probably solve the day for making people a little more innovation. So ideas plus execution, I will look at that immediately. It gravitates to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. Then they say, innovation is finding a new or better solution to market needs in a manner that creates long-term shareholder value. So when we think about some of the products that, at least in the last 10 years, what are some of the products that people consider as innovative? What are our ideas of innovative products and so on? I guess you can put it on the chat. What you will consider innovative products, something that would have, blown your mind so much. You say, yeah, but this is really innovative, boy. What are some of the products that would have, gotten your attention in the last 5 or 10 years?
mRNA. Alwyn is telling us mRNA.
mRNA? mRNA, what is that?
mRNA. Alwyn, you want to tell us? I think he was talking about vaccines.
Yeah, messenger RNA. Yeah, it was the technology used to develop the COVID vaccine.
Oh, the RNA. Okay, yes. Okay, right, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. Yes. Because
What else?
yeah.
So yeah, that comes to mind when you're thinking innovation.
Because you know that technology, even though it was used for the COVID, that has a lot of other applications, you know, that the ability to go into a cell and deliver information into a cell. That's basically what the whole concept is. So it's, you know, we use it for that purpose in this particular scenario, but the actual technology and you know, has a lot of other interesting applications that we'll probably hear about, you know, later on, you know, in terms of what it could do for other curing other diseases and helping other ailments that people may have and so on. It also has some detrimental applications as well too. But yes, definitely that is a modern innovation that is very noteworthy. Any other
Vintra is saying human services like food drop, pharmacies doing drop-off deliveries, Uber.
Right, Uber, yes. Yeah, yeah, right. So yeah, so you know, along the way and one thing we note, I don't know if you all ever heard about the fourth industrial revolution, because we're into that fourth industrial revolution. And basically what is this telling us for this fourth industrial revolution? Different to all the other times in history, human beings we now have access. In the first instance, we have access to state-of-the-art technology, such that that wasn't the case in history. You know, in history, in times gone by, the persons in society who would have had access to technology would have only been the hierarchies, the military, and other key persons in society would have been the ones to have access to technology, right? But in the time we live in now, anybody, for the most part, we have access to state-of-the-art technology. And that is very interesting, because with that now, anybody could be an inventor, anybody could be an innovator, anybody could be someone that could come up with a new product, which is very different to any other time in history. You understand? Because persons in the past, like let's say like what's the name of the guy who invented the light bulb again? I was trying to remember his name. Thomas Edison, right? Persons like Thomas Edison and others, who would have been noteworthy inventors and innovators in the past, they would have had to have access to a lot of finances in order to come up with their innovations, right? So unlike today, that is not necessarily the case, right? A lot of the persons who would have developed technologies today, who would have been the founders of major multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar companies, were common people, right? You have the Mark Zuckerbergs, you have the even Steve Jobs, you know, all these persons come from very humble beginnings, right? So this is what marks a difference in the time that we live in today, where you have where persons, common persons have access to technology, and not only that, but the technology of itself keeps developing at a rapid pace, such that now innovation is not something that we could just put at the side and say, well, okay, well, we could do it whenever we have the time, etc. Because you could be a multi-million-dollar company, a big company, right? Producing a particular product, and some guy in a garage tinkering with something could come up with an innovation that could basically throw your product out of the market, right? Once he could figure out a way to do it cheaper. The other day I was looking at a guy in Africa that was figuring out a way on how to make a car, right? A product that you could order and that could come in boxes. So think about that. So that the normal way that we are accustomed in terms of when you want to purchase a vehicle, you know, you go to a showroom or you go to some place that have the vehicle in a whole form. He is figuring out a way to put, like if you want to order a vehicle, you go on to like an Amazon and you click on the car that you want, and this vehicle coming in different parts and coming in boxes that you could actually mount up together. Think about that. Think about it.
Man, I don't know, you know, I don't know if I'll want to buy that type of car, you know, man, you see cult here.
Understand how that could change,
but it's innovation.
That could change the industry, exactly.
Yes,
right? Because naturally, the idea behind that is to make the product much cheaper and much more accessible, especially where parts and so on are concerned. Yes, it may be, it may cause it, you may have to probably go into to actually put the car together. But I mean, if they make it easy enough for you to put together a vehicle, let's think about how that could change the whole industry. And that's the whole concept of innovation, because if a particular invention like that could add value to the consumer, naturally it would be something that would be noteworthy, and it would be probably something that would, in time to come, would change the whole industry, and make a vehicle in terms of cost much more affordable and much more
But
accessible.
Herman, what come into my mind also was you're talking about innovation and culture, right? Just by my one little statement, culture, I accustomed going in the showroom and looking for the vehicle and buy it, right? That's the culture that I'm accustomed to. So again, some of the ideas and some of the projects that people would maybe embarking on, sometimes it stops, not even stop. It's not going fully to market because of value, as you said too, and because of culture change and mindset. So, I mean, there must be a way to get the individual then to understand how to purchase this product, because you could come about with all the great ideas, as we said, and even execute it, but if nobody's purchasing, or you're not able to commercialize that idea in terms of the vehicle, then it goes nowhere.
Correct.
So culture then is, how do you change, or how do you get buying for me now to want to purchase it? And I think that has a lot to do in organizations as well. It's the same concept. And how do we get people to go with the idea and to get buy-in into something, and not have resistance to change? Because your simple car example, I'll have a resistance to change because I believe that I want to go to the showroom and actually see the vehicle and probably get my key and drive out, right?
Right.
So resistance to change.
And you see with that again, with that concept too, if think about if something like that really is to take off, it presents an opportunity for anybody to be somebody who could sell vehicles, because now you don't require the extensive warehousing that is required when you're into that business. So that, for instance, I could just have a downstairs and I could be somebody selling vehicles, because the vehicles, the actual product is coming in boxes now. So I just have to have space to store the boxes. Or it could be a scenario where I don't have to store. You understand? You could just come to me, order the vehicle, and I could send the boxes directly to your home. So think about all those, how the
benefits,
how the innovation comes in, right? So so it's just things like that to think about in terms of what innovation is and how it could affect markets, and why it is so important now that in the time we live in today, technology is moving at such a rampant pace, as well as apart from the technology of itself being moving rampantly in terms of its progress, is persons' access. It is the democratizing of technology that makes it critical for all industries to focus on innovation, right?
I like understanding culture change for acceptance, probably in organizations for innovation, for people to really see it being beneficial. Something that you said there was the benefit of it, the benefit for everybody in the organization, whatever innovative idea that we have. And I guess that is when people might accept it and become less resistant to change once you see the benefits of something. I mean, this is not an overnight conversation to change, right? But you may see the benefit of something in your organization for innovation. I mightn't see it,
Correct.
I mightn't see it.
So as we move forward now, what is innovation culture, right? Because we define innovation, we have to see how culture plays a part in the whole scenario. So it's really a work environment that leaders cultivate in order to nurture unorthodox thinking and its application.
Yeah, unorthodox. I like that word.
You understand? And it goes on to say is workplaces that foster a culture of innovation generally subscribe to the belief that innovation is not the province of top leadership, but anyone in the organization. And that is the key importance there in terms of innovation culture. What we would have been accustomed to over the years in terms of a normal bureaucratic system is you have the boss, he's the one that comes up with all the ideas, or the bosses or the managers of the company, the supervisors, these persons who basically form part of the leadership structure. Those are the ones that are expected to come up with all the ideas, all the innovations and so on in the company. Everybody else on the floor, we don't really want to hear ideas, keep it to yourself. We in charge, we'll keep things to ourselves, etc., right? In a company that is in an organization that is looking to capture and to promote that innovation culture, that type of thinking has to go up on top of its head, as they say. You have to change things around. You have to make it accessible and easy for anybody to come forward with an idea. right? And not just being able to come forward with the idea, but you must have a system in place that idea now could move through the processes in terms of experimentation, validation, and all the other aspects.
Design thinking.
Exactly, right?
Design thinking process.
So that is what innovation culture is, being able to be in an organization that accepts creativity, that fosters it, and also one that understands that innovation is not a one-off scenario, right? It's not a activity that happens once in a while or once a week or once a month or once every 6 months, etc. It's something that happens every day, right? Everyday persons must be thinking about innovation, because you see, the thing about it is that innovation is part of creativity, and creativity of itself needs inspiration. And inspiration of itself now is something that happens on a regular basis, so that you are inspired by everyday things, everyday conversations. So if you're looking for like in terms of a workplace environment, every day you come to work, right? If you're working in an innovation culture, you're supposed to be thinking about innovation, how something could be done better, how a process could be done better, how the product of the company or products of the company could be done better. So like, for instance, you could be, let's say you're working in a company that producing juices, right? So you're working in a company that, like a fruta, they have the fruta company, right? So that's the company that you work for. You know, this company is producing different flavors of juices and things. And you could be home and you're in the kitchen and you mix up something different and you do some, you come up with some idea, boy, let me take pawpaw and mix it with mango and see what I can come up. And you come up with something and you give other people to drink it. Oh, you find that tasting, and just by that now, you could now come and produce that was a sample to the organization. Say, what you all think about this? This could be a flavor we could come up with, and things like that. So if companies now embrace that type of thinking, you would find yourself now every day thinking about these type of things or being inspired, right? By coming up with innovative ideas. And the definition says that an innovation culture is an organizational culture that really values and supports innovation so that people can actually make innovation happen, right?
Something that you just said too, in terms of the top-down management, low level, everybody in the organization should now contribute to an innovative kind of mindset and the culture in order to get the job done and become more innovative and change up stuff, right? And come up with new ideas that executed. We're not saying, as you said, top-down. You give the example with juice, the company, and everybody's talking about new ideas and new ideas. What that's just triggered in my mind too, the design of your organization, facilities management, got a lot to do, can contribute so much in making organizations more innovative and making people, not even the organization, but the people, I should say, really thinking organization culture to change in terms of innovation. So sometimes you sit in an office environment and it's in a very closed up cubicle, Herman, very closed up cubicle. That may not make the individual become more innovative in his mind and might just be in one way, just thinking in one way, a very silo way. But you design the space where it's more conference oriented. Sometimes, like Google, you're walking in these spaces and you start to think, So facilities management and probably the space itself, as you and I are both in this area in FM, and that can contribute so much in terms of innovative culture. Herman?
Yes. It's interesting that you bring up that because my next slide speaks directly to that point.
Well, I didn't see the slide, right? I didn't see the slide before.
It speaks to that point. But the thing is, though, what it's saying is that we have to look past the cliches there, because most of us think that when we talk about like an innovative culture or a place of innovation, is like the place on the right. If you could see the picture clearly, where everybody dressed casually, the typical cubicles and things, not there. We have up a bunch of sticky, we call it the post-its, and we coming up with ideas, we design thinking, and everybody having a good time and so on, right? So, but what we also looking at is that while that is a picture that would have been put in our head from looking at some of the other companies, like as you say, the Googles and the Apples and these other companies that would have been the forerunners of innovation, we have to also bear in mind that is not necessarily the picture that we will put in our heads when we talk about creating an innovation culture, right? Because innovation could take place, because innovation is something that could take place at any company. We have to bear in mind that some company cultures and some companies scenarios and based on what they do would require a type of layout that would be like the one on the left. So for example, the one on the left where you see the cubicles, that is actually office space for this company called SpaceX. You're all familiar with that company, SpaceX. That is Elon Musk.
Right.
Who recently would have done the stratospheric project where he sent people into the stratosphere, etc., etc. And you know, and pretty soon they'll be sending tourists to the moon and things like that. So SpaceX is considered one of the most innovative companies in the world based on the type of things that they're doing. Yet, when you look at their office setup, it is very typical of what you'll see in any business environment. So basically, what we see that, yes, we have a picture of what our innovative culture is, but at the same time, our innovative culture it has less to do with how the office is designed and more to do with how the persons are actually practicing innovation. You understand? Is the end result is what we have to capture. You understand? So the office space.
So Herman, you know, it just triggered again another point here. I wouldn't say this argument, right? I'll have this discussion with a lot of people who teach and facilitators and all of that in a brick and mortar environment. And, you know, you'll always hear people saying, but Herman, you should have designed the space in this way and students would have been more engaged and you know, things would have been better and X, Y, Z. And sometimes I take the point, but sometimes I also take the point is not the environment that is causing that individual to learn. You know, not the environment alone, but the content of what you are providing that makes the student want to learn, that you could learn in any environment. So it's also the same. I mean, it may help. You and I can't say no that facilities management can't help or the design of the space to make you more innovative. But, you know, you're looking at the space and how it could really contribute to innovative culture here and innovative, but you are also contributing that it's more than that, it's the individual too.
Yes. No, but we're not taking away the fact that the space has something to do with how we innovate. Like for instance, as you know, in facilities management, and as we go into this concept of innovation with facilities management, part of that also too is space management and how we could manage existing spaces to create an innovation culture. So that you may have a typical office space, and if there's room in that space where you could have what we will call co-working spaces. So this is an area you could create, like an area that probably would have typically been a conference room. You take that and you retrofit that now, and you put different appendices, use that term, that will facilitate an innovative kind of workspace. So like for instance, you could put up your whiteboards, you can have some computer screens, you know, and you can have other different devices that you could use, so that basically the purpose of this space in the company is a space that persons could regularly come to share ideas and to develop different scenarios, right? Because naturally, if the company in general does not have a space like that, then sometimes you have to create the space within the environment that you already exist. So it may be a lunchroom that could occasionally convert into a co-working space and things of that nature. But generally, multifunctional, correct. So the idea is that, because remember too, going back to the point that innovation is supposed to be an everyday thing. You know, it's something that you're practicing all the time. It shouldn't be this thing in your mind that, hey, you will once a month you'll meet and talk about innovation, or once every 3 months we'll have our innovation meeting. That is not how, if you're really trying to create an innovation culture, that is not how it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be something on a very regular basis, if not every day, every 3 times a week, etc. That persons who are part of the innovation team and so on will meet regularly to discuss innovation projects. We discuss different ways in which they could improve a service, improve a product, how they could interact better with customers, etc., right? So we take, you know, I take your point that yes, the space is important, but we just don't want to have this idea in our head that is all about, you know, because many people may fall back to the position, okay, we change our own space, we move all the cubicles, so we are
no innovative again.
Yeah,
and we know people. We know how people will be, right? We know we deal with humans.
Yes, exactly. That's just part of the scenario. You know?
I also like what you said, Herman, in terms of innovation shouldn't just be a one-off thing or, you know, when to do it, but it should be in all your meetings. So definitely, you know, we'll have status meetings. Managers, you know, leaders will have with their team status meetings. It's not only innovative you're talking about, but you're talking about your normal status. What have you done? What you still have to do? You use your agile way and in terms of getting the job done and getting information from your people. A 10 to 15 minute meeting. But even within that 10 to 15 minute meeting, you as the supervisor, as the manager, you're talking, you creating an environment that people will probably solve something, solve or come about with a solution. So I do believe it doesn't, I personally, that's just my opinion, that I don't believe you need to have always an environment, nice looking and pretty colors and all of that to become innovation. But it's up to you as the individual to, especially if you're on the top, to make sure that innovation happens at all levels. So within your meetings, you discuss something, and you can come about with to probably paint the floor better, clean the floor better. That's improvement, that's innovation. And from that, new products and new ideas could just flow. But we have to create the environment for that. It's your mind, as you will see.
Correct. All right. So, in terms of most people in their mind, when you think about a culture or workspace that is innovative, there are certain things that they will think about, right? So on the left, you see some things that typically will come to mind is tolerance for failure, right? Experimentation, naturally. Psychological safety, because that's some of the things that we talk about all the time in terms of, you're feeling comfortable to come forward with ideas, right? Nobody's judgmental, because you could be able to come forward with ideas on a regular basis, and the environment doesn't bog down on you for failing and things of that nature. A lot of collaboration, right? So persons talking, different departments, speaking with each other, and you're having this nice kind of collaborative environment. Flat hierarchy, and I was talking about that earlier. So you no longer this boss on top, and you have this kind of thing coming on. Everybody, like how King Arthur's round table. Everybody, once we on the round table, meaning to say once we agree to discuss innovation, Shivani could be my boss, but I could submit ideas. I could even challenge Shivani around this round table. So at this particular point in time, when we in our innovation workspace is a flat hierarchy, we have to create that environment, because if it is that I have a better idea than Shivani and we are discussing innovation, if Shivani is my boss at this point in time, I may feel intimidated to challenge her idea because she's my boss. But we have to create that environment that, if she says something, I must feel comfortable to challenge that idea and come with something better or something that or add on to something. But you must create that kind of synergy within that innovation space to produce better ideas and to produce innovation. And then you have learning. So these are the things that persons will normally think about as it relates to innovation. But the thing about it is now that while all that is all well and good, if that is all that is happening, right, what you end up without any execution or without proper structure, what you end up having now is what you call innovation theater. So you have people behaving as though they're looking as though they're doing innovation, but no actual innovation is actually taking place, right? And that happens, and dare say that happens a lot in Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Right?
I love that innovation theater. Oh gosh, I'm thinking of a few companies like that, but let me not talk that, Herman, right?
In Trinidad, you have a lot of what happened. Everybody talk innovation. You hear the buzzwords, you hear seminars, you hear all kinds of different things happening, and innovation is innovation that we come up with innovation X or innovation Y. We have an innovation conference, all kinds of different innovation stuff, right? But when it actually boils down in terms of what is happening or what is being produced, what is the end result, what are the products being produced, are they really innovative? Then it leaves a lot to be desired. So we don't want to find ourselves in a situation where we have all these things happening and we just basically just acting out a role or acting out roles within an environment, and then at the end there's no end result to it, right? So that is something you have to be mindful of. But what people don't associate with innovation, right, is what we will normally consider as rigid bureaucracy, right? So rigid bureaucracy would be like no tolerance for incompetence, right? You understand? You do something wrong, you say something out of timing, you throw again, boss or somebody going to discipline you, or you're going to get shouted at, right? Disciplinary action one time. Anytime you miss the mark, you come late, you're getting disciplined, right? Brutal kindness, so people telling you as it is, nobody feeling sorry for you, they're telling you as it is, right? And then you're very accountable. So anything you say you do, you know, you're responsible. A mistake is made, they're dealing with you accordingly. You're getting pink letters, you're getting this, you're getting that, you know, that kind of stuff. Strong leadership and execution, right? So that is at the opposite end of our innovative environment, or what is this is how we may consider it, right? But the thing about it is that what the studies have shown is that really and truly for innovation to take place in a company, you must embrace both aspects to some extent. So
Yes.
you must have that change of business or that change of business model thinking to create innovation. But at the same time, we must implement some sort of bureaucracy within the system in order for operations to take place and also execution to take place. Because you understand that bureaucracy is a tried and tested system, right? In terms of how you do things. Because remember, when you have a system in place, a system is what makes a business reliable. You understand? This is how you could have franchises. This is how you could have KFCs and help out with some other franchises. You know, Wendy's and Subway.
Taco Bell and all of that, yeah.
Taco Bell and you understand all these because these systems have been tried and tested, right? And they could be imported now and put anywhere in the world could apply these systems and create business and create wealth. So we cannot look down on that application in terms of being able to make our business run properly. It must be embraced then in the innovation space. So while yes, you're looking at innovation, you want to do this and you want to have a relaxed environment and you're able to give ideas and you're looking at all these things which is important, we also have to understand that in order to really execute in an efficient manner, we also have to embrace some of those bureaucratic systems, right? And it's a combination of both. And what we say sometimes now is that the fun stuff is the one on the left and the hard stuff is the one on the right, but them both must be considered, right? So the fun stuff is the tolerance of failure, experimentation, you know, collaboration. That is the thing that everybody enjoy. The part that people don't enjoy is this other side now. But they both must be embraced, because if it is in an environment where you're not taking, you're not holding people accountable for timelines, right?
Yeah.
We're going to have issues. If people are not being disciplined in terms of whether, you know, in terms of company policy, whether it's late coming, or whether it's how much sick leave you're taking. So in other words, you're a part of an innovation team. And as far as you're concerned, you don't have to show up to work, you know. I think I coming up with, I being inspired home, right? I don't need to come to work every day, you know. So these are things that you have to, you know, so yes, you'll be a part of an innovation team, but you also have to fall in line with some of the normal day-to-day operations that require a company to run and function properly, right? So both have to come together in order for this thing to run properly. Any comments there, Shabani?
I totally agree that you have to juggle both, because you're correct to say a lot of times in innovation, you're saying, yeah, work from home, just come up with ideas, but you have to have a structure in place too, to mesh the two. Because if you don't, people just have ideas, and it could end up not becoming executed. You know, a lot of times we have seen that in organization, people have loads of good ideas, and it is not because the environment does not allow it. The environment is allowing you to show ideas and to become very ideas driven. But there must be some type of accountability, as I see you put it here, to know how you're going to take this. What is the process to flow? So it must go along, yeah. Some people may be very, very good. I have seen in organizations, they're very innovative. They want ideas, but this process-oriented part, they lack that, and there's an issue between the two, and then you don't see the innovation really come into life. So it must be both. It must be both. We can't say, oh, just let people just become innovative, go in your corner and just start to talk, and then what, you know. So it must be a balance. I like the idea of to be balanced.
So to illustrate what I'm saying, we have two photos here, and I don't know if anybody recognize the guy on the left there, the fellow who pointed at the paper. Anybody recognize him? On the left, the black and white picture.
The one who's pointing? No,
Yeah.
I not recognize him.
He have glasses and he's pointing on the paper. He's like kind of in the middle of everybody.
Yeah, Alwyn is saying he doesn't.
Nobody recognize him?
Steve Jobs. Oh yeah. Steve
Jobs, right?
Yeah.
So this is a photo that he captured, you know, because sometimes when you see photos of these guys, they're celebrating, they're showing up some product or something. So, but this was one picture that I was able to get what you're seeing, this is like behind the scenes then, you know, serious business. You know, we discussing something, you know, it's not fun and games, right? It's an intense, you know, innovation could be sometimes very intense. For all you know, these fellas must be working late hours here. You know, this could probably be 11 o'clock in the night. They're coming up with an idea, you know, and they have to work it through. Many of the persons who would have worked at Apple and left Apple after a while, they would say that many guys' marriages were, you know, were ruined as a result of working at Apple, right? Because of the late hours and the type of lifestyle that goes along with working for those type of companies. So you may be traveling all over the world, or you may be working at the company and, you know, you're working late hours and your family, you're not available for your family. So, you know, the point is not all fun and games, right? On the right now, anybody recognize anybody on the right?
No, I'm trying to.
Fella,
I think
fella in front with the blue jacket.
in the blue,
Yeah,
yeah. I'm sure people
right? So
recognize
that's
him.
Elon Musk,
Yeah.
right? So again, you're seeing innovation in action there. You know, it's not it's serious business going on there, right? This is SpaceX, right? So it's an innovation company, it's an innovative environment. It has a culture of innovation, yet people are serious. People are focused on what they're doing, and it's a work environment. Good. So it's just for us to understand that when we say innovation, we can't just think, well, you know, it's a laid back approach and we're relaxing and we come up with all kind of fancy ideas. Are we in some kind of room drinking coffee and we have a posting? You understand? That is just one aspect of it, right? But we have to understand really and truly in order to drive innovation, especially technical ideas, to bring forth technology, to be ahead of the game, to be able to be competitive, to come up with ideas that all the other persons in your sector are not coming up with. That requires hard work, right? As one person would have said, innovation, I think this is Albert Einstein said this, innovation is 1% inspiration, no, 10% inspiration and 90% perspiration. Right? That's Albert Einstein. So we have to understand that innovation is a lot of hard work, right? So so there's this thing called an innovation culture scorecard, where we're taking those same two concepts and we're bringing them together and we're applying them to our organization. And we're using the scorecard to really see now, how does my organization fit into this framework? So basically, you look at your own organization and you're giving each of these a score from 1 to 5. So like, you know, does my organization have a tolerance for failure? Or is it a kind of no tolerance for incompetence? Does that organization promote experimentation? You know, or does it have a harsh disciplinary framework? Does my organization provide psychological safety? When you talk about psychological safety, we're talking about the ability to, you know, present ideas, or there's no pressure in terms of being able to come up with, you know, creativity and things of that nature. You know, how does my organization deal with individual accountability? What about the hierarchy? Is there a flat hierarchy especially when it comes to because, you know, some organizations may form persons into clusters. Now we understand that yes, it needs some sort of hierarchy in order for the system to run, right? No problem with that. But then when it pertains to innovation, we have to do things a bit differently, so that how does so some organizations, what they may do, they may form clusters, right? So we have a cluster dealing with X, a cluster dealing with Y, and in that cluster now, you will put different persons in the cluster. You may put us a management person, a technical person, an accounting person, and you know, you pull different people from different parts of the company, a HR person, and this cluster now is there as a type of an innovation team, coming up with ideas and coming up with different scenarios whether it's to improve our service or to improve our product, right? In the cluster framework now, you cannot have hierarchies like what I was talking about alluding to earlier. Everybody's supposed to be on the same level in order for ideas to be fluent, and in order for persons to feel comfortable to bring forth and challenge the system, so to speak, right? So the scorecard is just a framework that I'm presenting to you to see a way in which you could use a framework to kind of basically analyze your own organization to figure out if it has a innovation culture or not. Because no, there's no perfect organization, good? But a perfect organization will more or less score 5 have a perfect score at all. In other words, it will be balanced, because this is like think about this as a scale. So on one side, you have this thing happen, on the other side, you have this, and they're balancing off each other, right? So it's a way to figure out how your organization score. If you have a 5 on one side, or and a 5 on the next side, or maybe like a 1 on one side and a 5 on the other side, that kind of thing, right? So how do we create the innovation culture? So, as you're saying, culture is a result of many factors, all of which need to be changed to shape the culture. So you have, the purpose and mission of the company, individual values that persons will have. Then you have collective values. Then you have these processes, these bureaucratic processes like I was talking about. And then you have informal ways of working. All these things basically form part of the company culture. And culture drives innovation and performance in companies, right? And you have a whole different, this slide shows a whole bunch of different metrics from a culture perspective that forms part of our innovation framework. So things like lack of support, lack of top leadership support, project selection, lack of skills and talent, failure to integrate innovation to the core, and things of that nature. If it is not present, it will affect the innovation culture of the organization, right? So a strong innovation culture is the engine that drives the organization to constantly get better and move forward. And it's a cycle, right? So you have support, effort is put into it, you have learning, you get results, and you move again. And you continue with that cycle, right? As a continuous process. And there is a difference now between what we consider as conventional thinking and innovative thinking. It's important for us to make that distinction. So that, for instance, when we look at different business aspects, like the purpose of business, conventional thinking is to make money. Innovative thinking, create value and make money. You understand? And then in today's scenario, we have what you call the triple bottom line, which includes sustainability in that as well too. So we must also be mindful of the environment in which we operate in. So that if we are an organization and we are producing some sort of product, let's say, and that product, in the production of this product, we have a lot of waste that we have to put into the environment. We are now being more mindful of how that waste is being, is being put into the environment, right? As well as how do we utilize energy and resources? So could we find more energy efficient ways to run our manufacturing facility? You understand? Because the less energy we use, the more more sustainable the company becomes. So less energy, less harmful to the environment. All these different things are now being included now into our company's scope of work, so to speak, as well as we are making money and we are creating value. You understand? So it's no longer about just making money. That is the long time perspective, at least as it should be. Then what about customer demand? What are the different types of thinking? You have the conventional thinking is just to satisfy the customer. But then innovative thinking is not only just to satisfy, but it's to also see a larger opportunity. Yes, you want to satisfy the customer, but how else could what other value could we bring to the customer? And in many cases, we have to be thinking even beyond what the customer wants in order to really create some innovations. Yeah. When the first iPhone came out, how that became such a remarkable innovation is because really there wasn't any phone like it. And there wasn't even a demand for the features that were on the iPhone, Right? This whole concept of a smartphone is not like if people was asking for this thing, But when it came out to the market, we realized, wait now, a phone could do this. You understand? So it was at the time, it wasn't just about satisfying, because we were already accustomed. If we could throw our minds back to those days, we were already accustomed to this bland. The population was already won over by just the technology that gave us the ability to move around with our device, where you could actually speak to people and have these conversations and so on, right? At the time, I don't think our phone didn't have camera, didn't have internet capabilities and all those different things. You make a phone call, you send a message. That is what a phone used to be. And the precursor to that was the beeper. Remember you had the beeper? And we used to do fairly okay with the beeper. So you want to, I want to contact Shivani.
Yes, the beeper.
A beeper number or something. So you used to be, or you call a number and the beeper people will beep you. And I will send a message to Savani saying, can I give me a call or something or something. The word used to run.
How you think that you think I remember about beeper? How you think? Probably I don't remember about beeper. Probably just iPhone I remember about.
Did have anybody in the group remember beeper or had a beeper?
Yes, I remember it.
So and when you had a beeper and you're walking around with this beeper thing, you're a boss.
Yeah. Yes, true, very true.
Anybody used to have beeper, doctors, lawyers, thing. So what I'm saying, at the time we were very happy with that technology, right? That lasted, that had its time, that lasted. And then after now, the advanced version to that was the cell phone, right? And then the cell phone again, all that basically just used to make phone calls. And at the time too, again, only people who had money or who was of a certain status, could have had a cell phone. Then it became democratized and it became affordable for most persons. And even at that point now, the population by and large was happy with that invention. You could have made calls, you move around, you have a cell phone, ting, call me on my cell phone, this kind of thing. That was the thing. And even beyond that now, Apple realized that it wasn't enough just to satisfy the customer, because what we had as a population in mind, what a cell phone was basically to make phone calls and to send messages. They came now and they basically invented the smartphone. Now, I'm not say they invented it fast, because there was a version of the smartphone before. They took that technology and they just basically blew it out of the water. They made this thing called a cell phone, something that now you'll want to play with, right? Where you had internet capabilities, and even the way how it interface, the interface in terms of you're just using your hand to scroll down and you're doing all these different things with the device, right? That is something that the customer of themselves could not have imagined. The customer couldn't come up with that. You needed a group of people, innovative people, innovative minds, innovative designers to come up with that technology, right? So that is what it's all about in terms of what makes conventional thinking different to innovative thinking. Conventional thinking is basically following the lead of the customer. The customer says, I want that. Okay, no problem. We'll give you X. The customer wants Y. Okay, no problem. We'll give you Y, right? Innovation now is that you are thinking in beyond what the customer could think about. You're coming up with new ideas that the customer didn't himself conceive. But when it comes on the market, the customer now will realize its value and start to now digest this product and interface with it and make it part of the daily lives, as the case may be, right? And that is how you have a product now that could be disruptive and could turn the market around, right? So as we go down the list, there's all these different things, whether it's profitable growth, organizational values, all the different things. Those are what makes conventional thinking different to innovative thinking. And that is important to understand these things, because that is when now we could understand when it's time to do the cultural change process. What are the things that are required to do, right? So you have now the top-down approach and the bottom-up approach. This is how now you change companies and you bring companies around in terms of the innovation part, right? Because culture is shaped by attacking from both sides. From on top, meaning the managers, right? They come up with policies and they do things that are required to change the organization. And then the persons on the ground now, they have their part to play. So you're attacking from both directions, right? Now, there will be challenges, because the more people you have in an organization, it's longer it will take to effect cultural change. And it's a constant, it's a constant process in terms of the things that will be required to create innovation change, right? So when we look at the big picture, we ask the question, we have to ask certain questions. Why innovate? Choose practices and actions. You have to look at the management structure. You have to also, in terms of developing innovation projects, you have to look for the path of least resistance, and you have to also look for concrete results, right? And we'll just touch on them quickly. You have to ask the why. Why are we innovating? We're not innovating for innovation's sake. And each company may have a different answer to that question, right? Yes, it's for profits, because that's always the bottom line. But even when we ask the why, we have to look at the type of customers we have. We have to look at the type of industry that we are in. And then based on the answer to that why question, we will then be able to give a correct answer. So like for instance, if it is that you are a, let's just say you're a Marsha Montano, right? And you're innovating, you're thinking about, okay, how could I innovate for next year carnival, right? The answer to that question will be different, right? To even somebody else in the very same industry. That might be different because if you're a Marsha Montano and your aim is to win a road march, you understand? Or your aim is to win some sort of other competition, whether it might be Soca Monarch or some other thing, right? That would be maybe your purpose in which to innovate your song. But another performer, another person within the art form, right, whose interest is not into winning any road match or winning any competition, they may innovate, but we may innovate differently because the answer to the why question is a different answer. And that is the key. You may be in a very same industry, doing something similar. But the answer to the why is important. Why are we innovating, right? If it's to capture a particular market share, if it's to capture a particular customer, if it's to produce a particular type of product that could serve a certain type of need, all these are questions that need to be answered from the get-go, for us to understand the why, right? And then from there you can move on and start to now come up with your innovation, right? And then you have to,
I like the why. Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you have to now choose your practices and your actions, right? How are we to deploy this thing, right? Benchmarks in the industry, past experiences, because now we have to tailor our actions going forward to our industry and to our company. Who do we have on board in terms of, do we have the skill sets on board to really run an innovation program? Or is it a case where we may need to hire a consultant? Or do we have to collaborate with other stakeholders in the industry, etc.? So now you look at how you are positioned within the industry. After you answer the why, how you position, how can I bring these talents and these skills on board to move forward with the innovation process, right? And then now we talk about an innovation management system. So the innovation management system, very simply put, is a system that you put in place in a company, just like any other type of management system, in order for innovation to happen on a regular basis, right? So different standards like the same ISO 56000 that I was alluding to earlier, those type of systems assist and talk about how you could implement innovation management systems in companies. But by and large, that is something you want to start to set up so that once you have it in place, now you could, because with innovation management systems, you could also talk about innovation software, you understand, or how you can integrate your existing software in the company to be part of an innovation system. But basically what this innovation management system does is that it formalizes then, right, a way in which that we could produce innovation, right? And then we will talk a little bit about innovation project management because that forms part of our innovation management system as well too, right? And then we talk about leadership, right? Because the innovation, part of the innovation management system has a lot to do with leadership, the type of leaders you have, what type of leader you have.
Yes.
Someone that likes to take risks, executes well, encourages doing things better, does he seek support, for long-term performance? Is it somebody that reads a lot and in tune with, technology and things of that nature? Is it an old school kind of person that don't like change and don't like technology? And, like the other day, I interfaced with somebody, the person was a manager in a company, I mean, a very senior manager, and they didn't have WhatsApp. Because when I was having a conversation, I said, okay, well, WhatsApp, and he said, no, I don't have WhatsApp, and it was kind of difficult for me to wrap my mind around that. So how is he communicating with his staff and with his thing, and especially in today's context, because now we form WhatsApp groups and we send photos and we communicate differently now in today's environment. So then if you don't have WhatsApp, it kind of makes you wonder, well, how is he communicating, with his people? So, what kind of leader do you have? Is the kind of person that will tell you outright that I don't have WhatsApp, I don't need WhatsApp, right? Or is it the type of leader that, hey, embraces technology, and always looking for a new way in which to communicate and to make communication better, or looking for new technology now to implement within the organization to make the organization function better? Is it a future focused leader? So they are looking into the future in terms of what is coming, and they're not waiting until it come then to make a change. But they are putting things in place. So okay, we know that this is a new thing on the market, and this thing is going to affect our organization a particular way. Let's prepare for it now. Let's put things in place. Let's send people for training. right? Let's send, let's do things so that when the technology comes, we are not caught off guard. You understand? So so the leadership in the company is very important in terms of how innovation, the culture of itself will be deployed, and how the company could move forward. And also too, we want to choose the part of least resistance. Now, it's very important not to get too caught up with that part, because when we choose the part of least resistance, this is only ready for the beginning part of that culture change. You understand? Because what you don't want is to look for projects or look to do something along the innovation timeline that will create so much resistance or so much problems that people will begin to lose focus and lose that energy. What you really want to do is to build momentum. So you're looking for low-hanging fruits. What could be innovative on that could create excitement in this company, boy? Something that would have everybody excited. Hey, let's do this, and everybody could be engaged. And it's a quick win, so it's something easy to execute, right? Those are the things you're looking for to create this innovation culture. And then you can look for the harder targets later on. But you want to create this system or this kind of momentum in the company. Okay, you do this, we execute. Everybody think, everybody happy. Okay, right, you're eating and everybody think and talking about this innovation. Right, let's do something else again, and you move forward and you go on. And you got a few times and you create this type of synergy now in the company, this type of collaboration. And then from that now we can now look at the big picture strategy. How could you let's look for a hard target now. Let's look for something that can really now drive revenue, drive resources, and really create that change that you want in the company, right? And as again, say, we aim for quick wins and concrete results. We want to execute, because that right there, that lack of execution, right, is what plagues a lot of persons who perform innovation theater, right? That ability not to execute. So we don't want to get caught up in that. Execution is very important, right? Timelines are important. So, and again, that will come back to the innovation project management, or you touch on just now, right? So results, quick wins, concrete results, and we move forward and we go again and we iterate again and we move forward, right? Anything, Shivani?
I like when you said innovation projects, that you have to select one, especially if you're now starting up this whole innovation momentum. So I just came out of a meeting with innovation, my organization, and what we are trying to do is select a project that will really get innovation going, right? And that's the same topic, that you are saying, the same point. Don't select something that you're not going to get buy-in into it. Different persons, because we want it to happen. We want to change, right? In order to survive, you got to change right now and implement a lot of innovation strategy, or organizations may just fall apart. And how do you do that? Is by looking at a project management, as we see, some type of thinking. Which project do you want to embark on that will really go into innovation? So we had about 5 or 6, and it were great projects. And if our organization, or the organization that I was doing this project for, if the organization was one that was really in your scorecard, that had all those great elements, I would have chosen another one, right? Because that would have given more value to me and all of these great things. But you're going to get resistance if I had selected that, So we put some other, what you said, low-hanging fruit. And I think in order to create the culture for innovation, that is something that we need to look more and more at. Yes, we may say ideation and getting the correct idea. Great, you have the idea. Which one are you going to roll out into projects? People have to see value. They have to see benefits of it. They get resistance. To have less resistance to change, and then we could probably roll again. The project innovation roll again. My take on it, Suman.
Right. So we talk about the innovation scorecard, and this is just an example of what it will look like if you actually decide to go and use this system, right? So you'll have like on one side you'll have because 1 to 5, but it's really the purpose of it is to represent it graphically, right? So on one side you're watching to see how it balances. So like for instance, in the area of tolerance for failure and no tolerance for incompetence, it balances off here in this particular scenario, right? In the area of discipline versus experimentation, discipline is weighted heavier. So we could see automatically that more work needs to be done on the experimentation side, right? Then when you look at the psychology, safety versus the brutal candidness, there is more weighting on the psychological safety side. So maybe we need to work on the brutal candidness, because sometimes if you give persons, and it will also depend on your audience, eh? So that if it is that you're dealing with a group of persons that sometimes need that extra push that extra little rough up as the case may using local palang, right? They rough them up a little bit and they start to move. If that is what required every so often, then that needs to be part of the part of how your craft your whole program. Because if it just allow people to do what they want and everything is a free fall, we know what could result from that, right? So that is how the innovation scorecard is utilized in terms of being able to now get a feedback of your innovation culture. And then there's this diagnostics that you also need to do in order to see the gaps in your system. So you're asking certain questions and you're scoring them and you're coming up with a within 100%, right? So you could look at a strategic commitment has been made to drive growth through innovation. Is that so? Is that not so? You give it a score. An executive has been assigned full-time to lead innovation. That's a very important part there. So sometimes in certain companies, and this would more be for bigger companies, if it is that the company is serious about innovation, they would now appoint somebody with that title, right? Using an example of the government, the government kept talking about digitization, right? They finally, in recent times now, they created a ministry for digitization, and they created and they appointed a minister. So at least that signifies to the population that the government is serious about this concept, about this whole trust for digitization, right? So similarly, if you have an organization and you keep talking about innovation, but you have not yet appointed an innovation manager or innovation department, then that says something about the organization, right? A strategy has been executed to accelerate innovation. Sufficient resources have been committed. All these different things. You ask the question and you could analyze how serious the organization is about innovation, right? And I'll just use an example now. So this person here is a guy named Ron Henry, right? And he's a Trinidadian, but he operates a business in Boston called Ping Tam. So we work with different people doing innovation projects and so on. So he wanted to figure out like how we could be more innovative and basically using the same kind of techniques that we're talking about here. And some of the things that he came up with after in discussion in terms of what kind of ideas we could use to kind of for him to get an edge, because the district that he had his restaurant in, or have his restaurant, there's a lot of company, a lot of other, like it's like a kind of Arapita Avenue kind of something where there's a lot of other restaurants he has to compete with. So a typical kitchen, you have a chef, right? And the chef is the one who comes up with all the ideas, right? Okay, we're doing this on a Monday, Tuesday, and he will come up with the menu and he will assign the other persons in the kitchen or the cooks in the kitchen on what to cook. And so that's how a typical restaurant will operate. Good. With innovation now, using what we just talked about, creating an innovation culture, what he decided to do is what he will give certain days now to different persons in the restaurant, different cooks in the restaurant. It's okay, Maggie, you take Tuesday, come up with something. And every week or every month, I will come up with something different. So don't give me the same thing every Tuesday. I will come up with something different every Tuesday. We will experiment with it in the kitchen. If everybody in the kitchen like it, then we'll run through it. And you created this culture of experimentation. So they will experiment in the kitchen and then they would execute. And everybody in the kitchen will have certain days that will come up with different ideas, right? And that is what innovation is all about. You see him there with his son preparing cheesecakes and so on. So he came up with an idea for have a particular night for children, right? And so they would have these children meals and so on a particular day of the week. And then he would dress up his son in a chef suit, right? And the son will come out now and start to talk to the other children as though he's the chef, right? And like sometimes in some restaurants, you go in some restaurant and the chef will come out and that's how the meal was and so on. Well, he put his son to do that, right? And that was like a big hit. Everybody laughed, everybody take it was something that nobody ever saw before. That is innovation. You understand? And it's things like that. And those type of ideas, right, will only come about when you bring people together to collaborate and the company is different. And again, everybody think that innovation has to be something with technology and this and that and the other. Yes, is that, but also is about how you could come up with different connection, because basically an idea. What is an idea? Idea is really you just taking a connection from here and a connection from there and you bring it together, right? And that is how you get the inspiration. So okay, we have a meeting, we discuss, we come here and bam, you get this idea. And you say, okay, let's try it out, because probably you would have seen something, or we took Shivani's idea, we took Glenn's idea, we took John's idea, we bring everything together and we come up with one super idea that everybody could now agree to, right? And that is just, and so I just use this example of how innovation now could actually be executed and deployed in a very small business scenario, because this is not a big company I'm talking about here. This is not a big thing. It's a very small, simple restaurant, but yet he was able to use the same techniques that we're talking about here and apply it to create an innovation culture within his company, right? So innovation project management now, right, is something now that embraces all these things that we're talking about, and it actually now using the principles of project management, right, within an organization to execute projects, right? And it is something that may be kind of new on the scene, but it is something that is growing, right? Excuse me. So the industry outlook for it, the industry outlook, it says that it is inevitable over the next few years, professional organizations such as PMI will recognize the need to begin setting standards for innovation project management and possibly partner with other organizations like IUIP, as the International Association of Innovation Professionals. Right? So innovation project management now, because of where things are going, remember all these tech companies, in order for them to come up with new innovations, new ideas and so on, they have to set up some sort of innovation project management within the company. So the innovation project management is a concept that goes downstream to creating an innovation culture. So after you create the innovation culture, after you get persons on board, you set up your clusters, you set up a committee, you set up a team, whatever it might be. The next step is to introduce now projects, right? And these projects now will come in the form of an innovation project management, right? You want to add anything to that, Shivani?
Right. So as you said, project management, we're looking for a way that organizations now can roll out their innovation thinking and their mindset and their culture. So once you have to look at different ways to do it. And we're saying, look at a project management approach where you just design the project, you just have an idea and you're rolling it out into a project and you test it and you evaluate it and you monitor it for success. But for innovation in your organization to be a success, a project management, as we said, a framework, a way to run your projects can really solve it or can help for organizations to become more innovative, because as one of your definitions said, ideas and execution. So you will have the idea for innovation, but if you cannot execute it, this innovation will never happen. So how do you execute it? We are saying we need to execute it through projects, through project thinking. You have to come about with a perfect project to get buy-in into it. If it's the first time that you're doing innovation within your company and changing the mindset, and then you're looking at the entire life cycle in how this is to be revisited. But it's not a very linear way or sequential way to look at innovation projects. It will be more iterative and a lot of more agility, because just the word itself, innovation, cannot be static, right? It's got to be more dynamic. So projects, we're looking at a project management framework that will integrate a lot of principles of Agile to roll out your projects, ensuring that the project gives benefits and the project gives value. The project gives benefits and the project gives value. So I know, Herman, we had somebody. Let me just mute this. Right. So there are many of us, looking for ideas and how we can become more innovative within the company. Yes, we are throwing out the idea of culture because, from our poll that we really send out to our email community and our LinkedIn profiles, a lot of people said culture prevents people from becoming more innovative. And you presented such a wonderful literature on how companies can do it. There's the scorecard that I'm taking, but we're also presenting to tie into your concept of a practical approach for innovation through tactical projects and what is the framework for that as we move forward. So there's so much more that we want to talk about innovation. Definitely, this is part of a series. We can't do this a one-off Tuesday. So we'll have to keep coming back and, different persons will want to share so many different things with us on innovation. So this is our particular course that we are running on June the 7th, Innovation project management. We'll prepare a framework in how we must roll out the projects, how we have to select the projects properly, which is all about innovation. And there's a lot of great stuff in it. We'll also be demonstrating some design thinking strategies, which design thinking, as a lot of us will know here on the chat, is design thinking helps you to become more innovation, to practice innovation and the principles. Design thinking, it's a wonderful concept. So we'll actually do a lot of demonstrations and games on design thinking. There's a toolbox. We'll definitely introduce this to it. We'll walk away with a lot of good points. The learning outcomes of this particular course is going to teach us a toolbox that you're going to take with you and be able to do it for your organization. And not only for your organizations, I know a lot of persons here on the chat, maybe SMEs in particular areas, small business. And you're looking at, I had an idea in how to improve the cheesecake, as what you showed us. What is the framework? How could I improve it? Because I don't want it to just be an idea, I want it to be executed. So we are saying that the execution part of innovation must happen with projects. And you must have a thinking in project management. So there's a whole hierarchy then, not a hierarchy really, but a life cycle for innovation, which starts with design thinking and innovation mindset and quality and training, and of course, roll it out into projects. So Herman, yeah, anything you want to say before, because I'm looking at the time and I know a lot of people.
I think we could go straight to questions. I think we covered everything that we need to say for now. So anybody who have any questions could come forth now, because we ought to be mindful of the time.
Fine. Alwyn, I know you always will have some great questions. Alwyn, you're in Suriname right now, management consultant, working on a lot of projects. Project management is your thing, yeah? We're not hearing you, Alwyn.
Yeah, sorry, no. So I don't have any at this time, any questions at this time. But I would like to say, well done, Hubert. Thank you for what you shared and some of the insights that one could consider within particular organizations.
Okay, thank you.
Great, Alwyn. Anyone would like to ask any questions, or if you would like to put something on the chat? I was looking for anything. I say Alwyn, you said but forgot about the PDs. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. You have a question, Vindra? What's your question? Yeah, let's hear you. Thanks for asking one.
Yes, great presentation. My question is on how is innovation different from continuous improvement? Because I hear often two of the terms being used. I was wondering if there's a difference, if you'll define them differently, innovation and continuous improvement, please.
Right. Well, continuous improvement. Somebody need to mute the mic there. Yeah, continuous improvement comes from the older management literature. Let's put it that way, in terms of how companies could improve and so on. So you have continuous improvement, you have change management, you have all these different frameworks that could be used in terms of making a company better. Because when you talk about continuous improvement, generally, we're talking about how the company could drive home more profits, right? And that basically comes from the more conventional way of doing things, right? But when you talk about innovation is part of continuous improvement, but you're also now adding in this concept of value. You're also now looking at other aspects now, because from innovation, what we could have, like let me just use this example, like for instance, you have Apple, right? Currently going into the market of producing vehicles. So they're moving away from cell phones and they're going to a different market. You have Facebook now going into a different market as well too. So that is innovation versus continuous improvement. Continuous improvement basically will stick to what you're already doing, try to make it better, try to satisfy the customer, and more or less stay in that particular trajectory, which would have probably worked before and continues to work for a lot of companies, well-established companies. But if it is that you're looking at a company that wants to stay competitive, I want to stay state of the art, that's where the innovation comes in now, where you could now tap into different markets, right? Create products that the customer of themselves wasn't thinking about. You know, that is the pathway to innovation as versus continuous improvement.
Thank you.
Thanks, Evan. Great. So it's such a great session, and I know persons have a lot of questions, and we're very engaged in the conversation. So if there are no questions, I'd just like to say that we want to continue. There's such a lot of persons that want us to continue with this as a lunch and learn series for innovation. So yes, we look forward to doing some more innovation sessions as we continue the learning. At the end of the day, we promote, Herman and myself, we promote learning and development. So, we are in that space. So we definitely will continue with the conversation on innovation. And we look forward to seeing you on June the 7th in our program, Innovation Project Management. So until we see you again, Herman, wonderful innovation talks. I mean, key takeaways, I'm sure for many persons in this conversation would have been to become innovative. It's about culture in your organization. It's not only top management, but anyone in the organization can bring an idea, and also ideas into execution through a PM thinking. And I think there was also a main point where you demonstrated the innovation scorecard. We will send the recording to everyone, or who are on our email list, and you'll definitely hear it again. And then if you have any questions, of course, you all know how to contact us through that particular email. So we wish to say thanks again, everyone. Until we see again, innovation all the way, right? Thanks again, everybody. Herman, all the best until we see again.
All right, nice. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. And to you too. All the best.